Good day viewers, welcome to Vayo's Kitchen channel. Today I'll be teaching you how to make donuts. You can see how whitish the donut is. It's a very clear and simple recipe I will advise you to try out and you'll love it. Please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button and give me a thumb up if at the end of this video you like it. Now for my recipe I have nutmeg, half teaspoon, cream vanilla or any vanilla flavor of your choice, half teaspoon. I have my powdered milk, 1 tablespoon. I have my salt, half teaspoon. Then I have 2 teaspoons of yeast. And butter here I have 50 grams. And I have just 1 egg. Now for my sugar I'm using 100 grams. Also for my flour I'm using 500 grams. Now the first thing you're going to do is that inside the mixer you just add all your dry ingredients, starting with your flour, your sugar, your salt, your nutmeg, your powdered milk and your 2 teaspoons of yeast. Then you start by mixing it together a little and then you go again with your liquid ingredients. So for the liquid ingredients you start with your butter, then your vanilla, then for the water I am adding 1 cup of water, that is a 250 ml. This will give me a very soft texture. Then I'm adding 1 egg. If you don't want it to be as soft as it is here, you can make your water to be just 3/4. 3/4 is just a 1/4 cup times 3. Then mix for almost 15 minutes or 20 minutes using a speed mixer. But if you are using your hand, you mix for 25 minutes non-stop if you want to get the best result. So now let's check out how it is. First start by touching your hands on the floor and then behave as if you want to really open it up. Spread it as if you want to open it up and see how it is. You can see it's not tearing easily, and that's how you know a good donut. At this particular point in time now, the donut is so light. When touching it, that means it has really mixed until it has given me this satin-like texture that I wanted. Bring everything to your work table and then bring all the dough together. Make sure you sprinkle some flour on the work table before doing this. Now you don't have to knead this dough for a long time because your machine, the mixer, have done much of the job, almost all the job. So all I'm doing here is just to bring it together and then I'll start cutting. Now the donut size you want to fry depends on choice. Sometimes you can make 100, it can be 80, it can be 120, it can be 150. But here I'm measuring 100 grams. So I want all my donuts to be 100 grams equally. So I'm going to be doing the rest of them behind camera. So you can see what I'm doing. Now I've gotten my 100. So I'll bring everything together, mold it together and drop it aside. After I can now start molding my balls. This is exactly what I'm going to be doing with the rest of the dough. Now we cut some parchment papers cut about, let's say about 12 pieces, depending on how many. I think the dough here is giving me only 9 with a smaller one, 9 pieces of donuts with a smaller one. So I'm supposed to get up to like 10 pieces of the parchment paper, position it on my baking tray, and then sprinkle flour again on top before I can mold and place my donuts on top of every one of them. So you can see me dividing them into squares. Now I'm going to be laying them on the pan, the baking tray. After doing this, still sprinkle some flour on top again, because if you don't do this sometimes, the donut rise to stick to the papers. And then start molding your donuts. So mold every one of them and position on the paper. And after doing that, all you need to do is to set it aside to rise for 45 minutes to 1 hour. Don't allow it to overrise, else you will not get the better result of this donut. But make sure that it's well proofed. In fact, it should double in size. Don't forget, when yeast stays too long in donuts, they seem to be slapping, as if it has a sour taste. So it's always good you follow your recipe the way it is given to you and follow the timing also. So position your donuts on every paper on that tray. So you can see me bringing everything, all the rough parts. After bringing it, I'll now mold it, keeping the rough parts on the table, and begin to work on it by turning it. This is to remove every joint on the donut ball. If you don't remove this joint, when you fry it, your donut will tear, thereby leaving you with an open donut, and you wouldn't want that. Next, after 45 minutes, I'm now frying the donut. Now this donut is very soft, very light. After rising, you won't even know that you are carrying something. It does not have weight. So you can see how I'm putting my donut. Because of the flour I sprinkled on the paper, it is very easy for the donut to just fall out from the paper. So after some time, flip over to remove every excess flour. Now fry. After some time, you turn to the other side of it. Now you can now flip over to fry the other side. Just make sure you fry until golden brown. Then you'll be left with a ring at the middle of the donut. Now some people say, how do you achieve the ring? If you're just like I say, I answered one of those questions. If your donut is well proofed, it will be very light that the oil, no matter how small, will be able to lift up the donut. And by the time this happens, automatically there will be a ring on the donut. So this is what I'm going to do with the rest of them. You can see the finished donut. Rotate it inside sugar if you like, or you pipe in your jam depending on your choice or any filling of choice, chocolate, anything at all, as I displayed in my last donut video, is allowed. Now use your fork and the bottom part of it, open the donut and then pipe in your jam, just like I am doing now, and your donut is ready. You can see the ones I didn't pipe and the ones I piped. This is looking very appetizing.